Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Fridays with Keenan's Cutting Edge, where we discuss all things edge. My name is Jenna, and I will be your host as we explore the dynamic world of Don Keenan's trial philosophy, The Cutting Edge. Those of you joining us live this afternoon are receiving early bird access to this episode, so you have the opportunity to ask questions and interact with our speaker. If you have a question, please type it into the comments section below, and we will be sure to address it. If you happen to be unable to join us live, however, episodes are released each week after the live broadcast, so be sure to hit that subscribe button and click the alerts icon so you don't miss an episode. Today, we have a very special episode with Papa Don Keenan himself. If there is a bigger way to end the first year of this podcast, I can't think of it. Papa Don has been a mentor to me for 4 years now. And despite his massive fame and notoriety, he is incredibly accessible to anyone who truly wants to put in the time to learn his method of trial practice. You do not need to be an inner circle member. You do not need to be president of your Trial Lawyers Association. You can be a nobody from Washington, and Papa Don will give you time. I don't know how he does it, but I'm thrilled to have him with us today to talk about the year in review and what is coming up in 2022. So Papa Don, I'll give you the floor and let's chat about what's been going on in 2021 and what we can look forward to next year.
Jenna, I can tell you one of the significant advances that occurred in 21 that's going to be even better in 22 is you.
Thank you.
You and I both know we worked on this podcast thing for about a year and a half and did focus groups on what people want. And we launched it only when all the I's were dotted and all the stars were connected. And it's been phenomenal. And I'll tell you, it's not too hard to figure out if it's successful or not. You look at the viewership, and if you got 3 or 4 people in a chipmunk watching it, that's one thing. But you got, and then the remarkable thing, and I was not very proficient in what the blogs and the grams and the Tiki Watts and all that kind of stuff is, okay? But the idea that we could be doing what we're doing right now and, our Bubba still asleep, getting ready for tonight, and he's going to wait until tomorrow afternoon to download this thing and watch it. That's just incredible. So what that has done is that has not just quadrupled, because you got the webinar, which is live and you got to come and you got to see it. But then after that, it's gone, right? This one's incredible. I mean, this has got, I went back several sessions and there's still new numbers, people coming on, okay? So make no mistake about it, your dedication, your time, and the quality that you produced, except for today, is the reason why it's drawing. And it's drawn, let's be clear about it. It's multi-issued. It's about as variety-oriented as possible. And the least I think I look at something and say, well, I'm not going to get much out of that. That's the one that I get the most out of. So, I predict that this thing is only going to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And so thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
I want to do something that, I took this task of doing the year-end review and where we're going to heart, okay? I want to be right. So I went back March of 2 years ago when COVID had just come on like a crazy thing that was going to kill us all. Everybody was spooking. Oh, shit, I'm closing down my office. Oh, my God, what am I going to do? Spent time studying it. Then I did a webinar with 400 people. This is what we got to do, okay? So I went over those notes to see, one, did we do it? And two, was it worth doing? So let me just start from that standpoint because, I'm a firm believer that past is prologue, okay? Tomorrow didn't just occur in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to share this with you on the past program. I'm working now with an Irish soccer motivational coach. He goes in and motivates Manchester United and the various other great soccer teams, former great soccer player himself, but he mentors them and he does individual sessions. Very first thing he says, before we can go forward, we got to take a step backwards. Where are we? Why were we there? Okay. After we do that, and that doesn't take very long, Eden then takes them to where they need to go in the future. And I just thought, so many times we Americans are in such a rush to do something that we overlook the fundamentals. So I want to go back to March 2 years ago. I said, and I'm clearly not the first one that said this, folks, there's going to be less money out there. Insurance companies don't know what they're doing, but I suspect they're going to try to squeeze us. Was that prediction right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to fundamental business 101. In order to produce more money, you got to do one or two things. You either got to increase your income or you got to decrease your expenses. And perhaps a combination of both. And then I went through the various things we could do. And for the most part, there has been a wholesale shift because I guess I'm persistent and start preaching about it. But the one thing was you got to downsize your office. I mean, this is the time to look at the fat and start whacking it, okay? And we've had members that have drastically gone in that direction. Hell, Len Gabay, one of our studs, shit, he just about closed his office. And he's a Zen master, okay? Happy as a friggin' clam, okay? Hadn't changed anything about his ugliness, but I mean, come on, we can't hope for everything. So that was one effect. Somebody went way overboard. Other people have, well, do I really need that new lawyer? Do I really need 3 paralegals? And so what it's done with the now 71 referring lawyers that we work with, it has definitely cut the wheat from the chaff. And everybody's reporting, holy shit, I don't miss them, you know? And then we've got you once again being a superstar. You were one of the very first virtual offices. Okay.
Yeah, we were doing all this before COVID even forced anybody to do it.
Absolutely. And did it like a champ. Okay. There's still people trying to figure out, is that thing behind you, is that a virtual office or is that just a shield? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's my wife back here on the wall. It's not a shield, let me tell you. Okay. But I can't begin to tell you how many lawyers now all over the country, urban areas, rural areas, are now close to virtual. Okay. And with that said, they're paperless. With that said, they do everything except sleep in the cloud. Okay. I mean, I was a latecomer. I said, cloud, what the hell's a cloud here? Okay. Well, we need to go there. Well, how the hell are we going to get up there? Okay. But slowly but surely. And we had this 150,000 plus brain of our network. Okay. And it was so friggin' powerful. It threw off so much heat. We had a special air conditioning unit for it. Guess what? That's out of there. We don't use it. It's obsolete. It's in the clouds.
Mm-hmm. It saves physical space. It saves energy. It saves paper. It saves, I mean, barring the occasional glitch, it saves so much stress.
Absolutely. Okay. And the great benefit is it saves money. Okay. Mm-hmm. Unless you know you're in the category of some of y'all where you just got all kinds of money to throw away. Oh shit, yeah, let's go buy that. Oh, let's add 3 more people. Oh hell yeah. in your dreams, maybe. So there are tons of things that will reduce your expenses. Then, of course, you got India and Vietnam and Canada and all these offshore places that I have found can abstract a deposition better than an American can. Indian doctors can do a medical timeline quicker and cheaper than the American white coats. Just every time something new pops on, wait a little bit. It's not like you get the first version of the car. Mm-hmm. Wait till they work out the bugs. Then when they work out the bugs and you got feedback from your peers, shit, this works. Then hell, go for it. Okay. So there's a lot more I could do about office because, I'm the tip of the spear at my firm, mm-hmm. although Mindy is managing partner. Mm-hmm. But we're constantly coming up with, do we need that? Or can we supplement that with something better, cheaper? And we're constantly doing it, constantly. Okay. So remember that. Now, the major change, when we look back over this past year and then we're marching in the future, the biggest change that dominates everything are juror attitudes. There has been, just like COVID has changed everything about our practice. And if you admit it, changes a lot about your attitudes. Pales in comparison to what it's done above out there. And beginning in March, okay, 2 years ago, we've still continued to do weekly focus groups, sometimes twice a week. And I thought we were dead. I thought with we not being able to get people together, our most powerful tool, which is focus groups, going to die. Boy, was I wrong. We do better focus groups on Zoom than we ever did in person. People are more attentive. You get a geographical mix. I can tell our people, Ryan and Chase are on this call. I can say, I want one-eyed Eskimos that live in the Northeast United States. I want them on my next focus group. They go out and get them. So whatever demographic you're looking for with a focus group, unless you're lazy, you're going to get exactly what you got. So in many respects, because our practice is national, we only got, I think, one case in Georgia and probably 2 cases in Florida. We're all the time having to take cases in venues not our own, and potentially we don't know much about them. But after a couple focus groups, by using people in that venue, piece of cake. Yep. Piece of cake. And it's a winner. It's an absolute winner. I can't begin to tell you, or Jenna, because you're close to the heartbeat of this thing, how many trials we've had. Greg's had 3. I had one, which was the Chicago case, which was my last one. Although fortunately, I've got 2 coming up. Okay.
Are they going to be virtual?
I don't think so.
They can be in person?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
Because I told the judge I'd stand out in the parking lot and we could microphone me into the courtroom. I don't care, right?
Yeah.
But if we got to do them Zoom, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, everywhere we've tried cases where we've done the adversarial focus group, as we did in your Randall case, if you remember.
Yep.
That was quite unusual because our judge was not a jury, it was a real judge. So what did? You focus grouped it in front of a really good judge, similar to who you were going to be trying a case with. And boy, don't you think that was insightful?
It was incredibly insightful to see how his brain worked, what he picked up on, how he decided the number he chose for the verdict, everything, what facts mattered to him, and it was really interesting.
And you bagged that case at like triple the value over everybody saying, oh, she's not going to get that. Oh, that young G, oh, she's not going to get that. Well, you got it. You damn got it. Okay. By using a number of things that I hope to have time to get into, but the focus groups, we didn't miss a beat. In fact, we actually got something better, which is always good. Okay. Now, I'm going to rip through real quick the changes in the juror attitudes that we're seeing. An absolute shift in what Bubba thinks is important in life. Okay. There's about 5 or 6 4-dire questions that'll get to it. But the bottom line is we used to get, well, what's important in your life? Well, it's my F10. Okay. Or it's my stamp collection or whatever it may be. The only thing they say now, and by I said them now, I mean all of them. What's the most important thing in life? My life and my family's life. And because of that realization, Jenna, they have a newfound appreciation for quality of life and damages. Now, you understand what damages. I mean, if they hold deep their health, if they preciously cling to being as perfect as they could be. Do you know people are exercising more than they did pre-COVID? Can you imagine that?
Good.
Yeah, it's excellent. Now, what does that show you? They want to stick around, okay? They want to be healthy. Well, it's great for our juries to understand when the rule breaker takes something away from us, what's the value of that? And I can tell you, when you get down to specifics, the value increases about tenfold because they really do understand it. Now, because people are still fearful, what's going to happen next? Survivability is key. What can I do to make my world safer? And by the way, the government's not going to help. I got to be the one. I've not seen that in 20 years. And see, that goes into the heart of the cases, because if they think they're responsible for their own survival and you're coming along as the guardian of the safety of the community and inviting them to be part of the team, they're immediately, you think the damn black hats are giving them survival? You think the black hats are providing preventability? No. We're the savior. And I don't mean that disparagingly. Okay. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. So they have a newfound appreciation for danger and if it's preventable, because here's the kick. It became this simple in 21, and it's going to become even more simple in 22. A danger which is predictable, you know it, you should be able to prevent it. And that's the case, ladies and gentlemen. Did they do everything they could to prevent this? Because the easy part of it is, did they know the danger? Well, of course they did. What did they do about it? And of course, in court, they're arguing, well, it's remote and it may not have happened and all that. That's just nothing but blowing excuses. Bubba got zero tolerance for bullshit excuses, okay? And they've gotten really stronger about that, you know. Man, I wish that damn witness would have just answered the question. That's the one I wanted answered. Well, Bubba, why do you think he dodged it? Well, because he's hiding it, okay? Okay, which brings me, and I'm doing a lot of hopping around, but
that's all right.
Okay. I wrote a blog a couple months ago, I think it is, and the newfound emotional button. You know, you got betrayal, hypocrisy. What's the other one, Jenna? What's the other one?
It's hypocrisy, betrayal, and lies.
Hey, oh, there you go. See, I knew you were my superstar. A lot of people are going to say, well, we rehearsed it. No, we didn't. I just had confidence she'd knock it out. All right.
I got nervous for a second. I always am afraid I'm going to miss one.
When I was at the reason why you're going this way today.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that was close.
Can you think an 8th grader could figure out this Jenna and they're nervous? Okay.
That's funny.
Thank you for that. And looking up. Oh, why is she looking up? Okay.
I'm doing all the body language you always call out.
You love it. You love it. I love it for you. Okay. But what's the new emotional leg? Anger. I mean, if there's one thing that you can say about the change of juror attitudes, the number one change, they're pissed. They're angry at everything. They're angry about who the hell let the dog out. I mean, who caused this COVID thing? They're absolutely convinced this was preventable. Why? Because they should have known something bad was coming and done something about it. Well, Bubba's convinced they didn't do anything about it. Well, guess what? Bubba right. Okay. So there isn't a thing Bubba is not angry about. And you got to be very careful. Because if you're not careful, Bubba's gonna probably get angered at you or at your client. Let me tell you, yesterday, we were doing a focus group, last one of the year. And it was a routine, I hate to say anybody's tragedy is routine, but it was a sleep-deprived delivery driver who smacked into the back of our client, caused an injury. No question about it. In fact, the focus group said, well, there's no question about who's at fault. It's just, what damage was occurred. Okay. And the lawyer got a life care plan and then did the thing that a lot of lawyers do when they're not familiar with how to do life care plan. They loaded it up with shit. And now you're going to incur Bubba wrath. Okay. Case in point. The life care plan had something like $1,200 to get a mediation tapes. And then $95 a month to listen to whatever. I thought Bubba's head was going to blow off. Because Bubba said, wait a minute. You can go on the internet right now and get 5 free, great mediation tutorials. Okay. And you can show me what's been recommended in your case there. And I can tell you the one that's free is better. You see, here it is. You got a great case, you got good damages. Now you junked it up, you exaggerated it. And now Bubba's anger and all of Bubba's emotion is directed against you and the client. Why do they do that? Why do they have to damn exaggerate that? Jesus. So that's just one example of how the anger will kill you, because your anger, no question about it. You think your anger is not going to have an effect on the verdict? Huh? It's one of the biggest driver downs of value, as you're going to see. The other huge change in juror attitude is statistics. Why do you think I wrote 3 separate blogs about all the different ways that we screw up statistics? I mean, statistics is the crown jewel. It's the one that gives us predictability. It's the one that gives us preventability. It gives us the case. You give me a good statistic and I'll tell you, you're going to win the case. And by the way, what I was telling you about that Texas case is it was about a 2-page, and I could tell he was excited. I mean, here he is on New Year's Day. Boom! And then we did boom, boom, boom. And then they did the boom, 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 boom. Shit, I was cheering. Yes! Yes! Okay, and then what is it? So I looked for the statistic. You said we started the case with a statistic of every 68 seconds, a sexual assault occurs. Well, that passed my litmus test. That's a grabber. Holy shit. Wow, I never thought it'd be that many. Okay. Then the trial court, God bless them, allowed them to use a PowerPoint that had the stat and had a visual clock ticking. Tick, 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 boom. Tick, 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 boom. You don't think that damn statistic took off like a friggin' rocket to space? God almighty. Okay. And like I said, it was a no offer case. A jury did 1.5 on the intangibles, 1.8 on the franchisor. Where else here? Shit. It was great. Statistics won that damn thing. Okay, I mean, along with some great lawyers.
Of course, and the seeing is believing, right? I mean, that visual aid is very powerful.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I'm again going to skip around. I want to tell you another thing that came out of this case this morning. I just printed it off. He says, I used specifically the closing pie that I was taught in the closing liability college, worth its weight in gold. All right. Of course, the defendant refused to take any responsibility, so then we brought in the system failure. Oh my God, that's smart lawyer now. That's very smart lawyer. But here's something that you should recognize about the tools that we got out there for you. Because, you know, I'm losing count. We got the blog. That's free. We got this incredible podcast. That's free. We got the webinars. I don't know how much longer they're going to be around. But shit, that's free. All this stuff. Of course, we have to charge for the college, you know. And we have to charge for books and things, right? But, you know, we clearly want to make sure that we sell as close to cost as we can. Now we got our competition out there still at a $135, $200, sometimes $800 for a damn book. Ours, we decided to go electronic, and we can whap them things out under $100. And there's no difference in the content of the electronic versus the hardcover, except you can find stuff quicker.
Yep.
Okay?
I like that Control F factor option.
And whatever. So let me tell you, but sometimes everything is not found in one place, which is, I think, a new revelation that the college is going to pick up, your podcasts are going to pick up. And that is, just don't go to one blog and say, oh, I saved the world. Okay. Or go to one podcast and say, well, I know everything there is to know. It's right there for you, this other stuff. So why not take advantage of it? For example, he says, and see, I love this because when we came out with the direct exam book, 5 of my directs, verbatim, I had some people say, nobody's going to give a shit about a direct. I mean, everybody can do a direct. Oh, really? The ones that lose the cases, is that the ones you're talking about? Okay. And then, of course, we've got a direct exam course. So let's see what he says. I thought the direct exam was one of the most important things I did. Now you talk talk to some lawyer that's going to say, why do you need to talk a direct exam? You know, my Labrador could do the damn direct exam. Come on, that's easy. You just get up and talk. Well, that's not how we teach it. That's not how we demonstrate it. So what does he say? I took the direct exam college when it was offered earlier this year. Wow. It's a new course, and I use the direct exam method taught there to do my clients direct. It was also helped incredibly that part of that course discussed in depth Papa Don's Boston rape trial. Okay. Mr. Keenan's direct is a go-by of that courtroom direct and was extremely super helpful. Granted, I didn't fully understand all the reasons Papa Don did what he did during the use of that system. I didn't realize that until I took the course. And I realized every bit of it. Okay. So, Jenna, that's an example of how, you know, there's a couple wells out there we got that you can put your bucket in this well, you can put your bucket in this well. There is some overlap sometimes, but not necessarily all the time. Now, the final thing that everybody knows about changing juror attitudes. We are more polarized in this country than we've ever been. And what do you do with that? Well, first of all, do not immediately say a Trumpite is anti our case. It's not. If you've got a bunch of Trumpites on your jury, you can win by Trump attitudes. You can, which aren't inconsistent with the edge attitude. So don't, moving forward, things are going to get even worse. And we've had focus group after focus group where half of them were Trumpites, half of them weren't. Okay. And we've done just fine because we found the common ground, right? Which I could get into because that's a whole different thing and I've written on it, but I think it's powerful. You need to understand it. Now, as I told you, I want to click off about 4 or 5 types of cases that are the great cases of 22. You shouldn't be afraid of them. In fact, you should embrace them. And we've given enough information so that you can steer in that direction. First of all is informed consent. Jesus, $22 million verdict on informed consent. Are you kidding me? 18 million on informed consent. Aha. $11 million informed consent. I don't think it's a fluke, folks. Okay. And understand what's at the gravamen of informed consent. Defendant, you had the information for me to make a decision. And you either said I was too stupid or you didn't want to get into it, but you kept that away from me. You deprived me of my right. Now, please believe, Bubba believes it's a damn right. Ranks right up there with the Constitution. I have a right to know it. Anytime it's in that category, defendant deprives Bubba of the right, step back, Jack, now. You're going to get the 22 million and the 11 million and the 18 million if you do it right. And informed consent is a lot like the early days of the lie. Remember when I said, for God's sake, if you got to lie, try the friggin' lie. Don't junk it up with 22 other things. Have confidence in the lie, write it out. You know, and every time we've done that, you know, Ben Gideon, for example, I mean, I nominated him for the Inner Circle, hell of a lawyer. But he had a case with about 15 issues, but he had a lie. That it was so far down the list, jurors are not going to understand it. Well, we retrofitted that case, tried the lie. Ka-ching, it was so powerful, it took a no-offer case and turned it into an 8-figure outcome before the verdict. They didn't want to see the verdict.
Wow.
They did not want to see the verdict. Okay, so informed consent. This next one is not going to be any great surprise. When we first started doing focus groups, the code for police was, except in certain pockets, 2 or 3 in the country, was my protector. Boy, that ain't true now. I don't care where you be. There is great anger at the police. I mean, firing through a wardrobe door and killing a 14-year-old girl. Come on. You think that's going to make people warm and fuzzy about the police? No. There have just been a constant onslaught. And the videos are just, oh good God almighty. They run together. Oh, was that the California case? No. That was a Cincinnati case, right? Oh, shit. So you get the police between the crosshairs. Just step back, Jack. Juror attitude is going to take care of it. The defendant, as a government entity, has not fared well in the pandemic. They are probably the most distrustful anger point of any defendant. So I don't give a shit if it's the water and bird department. Go after them. They do not enjoy any sympathy with the jury. The last one, I've said this for about a year, but it's even more so now. And we've got some of the most courageous edge lawyers that do nothing but this type of case. And man, is it paying off for them. Whoa, look out. Employment. Listen, everybody's getting shit on with employment. And nobody's happy about it. Okay? I don't mean to demean the employment lawyers, but if you put in the time and the education, they're not difficult cases. At the beginning of the trial, who do you think Bubba sides with? Well, you got this big corporation right here, and you got this poor little lady. Okay? I mean, come on. What do you think? All right. Well, that's it with the new cases. Let me talk about the case issues that have changed considerably. Bubba has got zero tolerance for somebody to drag something out. I talked to my advertising guru in Atlanta. He's got 5 agencies around the world. One of the, if there's a Mount Rushmore for advertising, he'd be on it. And I get with him every once in a while. I say, okay, Dave, what's the trends? You remember, he's the one that told me, don't get angry about Flo being in the same damn commercial 3 times in 30 minutes. Because I was saying, what the hell? Stop repeating that shit, will you? He says, it works, dickwad. Okay. That's the key to our advertising now, is multiple boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. So when Liberty Mutual comes on with that damn ostrich or whatever shit, I'm getting me a drink. Okay, I don't want to see that, because when I see it the first time, I know it's coming back. I just know it. And they're quick. So if you thought back when we were changing the format of the opening and telling you can win the case in 16 minutes, and none of this hour-long horse shit that we had in the past, I meant it, but I even mean it stronger now. We've had focus groups where there's been a 16-minute opening, and what are the comments? Why do you take so long?
Yeah. Everybody wants everything to be so short now.
Well, what was wrong there? If he had a case, he'd be shorter.
Yeah.
Well, what does that tell you? If he had a case, it would be shorter.
Why did you need to explain so much? Why do we need to hear all that? Mm-hmm.
That's right. So short is even shorter. Okay. And look at my direct exam a lot of times of experts: who, what, when, where, how come. And that's it. I mean, that's the word. I can't chop it down anymore, Jenna. If I could, I would. And as you alluded to just a second ago, visuals are huge. And come on, let's understand why they are. They remove you. They don't have to trust you. And as nice and sweet as your outward demeanor, where we all know underneath is just a wicked, nasty woman. Okay. Even you can't pull off what a visual will pull off if it hits the target. So visuals are going to be king. They're going to win cases, but it's going to take a lot of damn work, And as you know, the law firm's got 2 in-house graphic designers to work full-time for us and the 70 or so referring lawyers we got. And one of the first ones he did was in the Randall case.
Yep, that's awesome.
And it was just friggin' awesome, brilliant. Well, the way we've set up the economics of it, it was like 1/3 of what high impact would charge, far better. And so we're going to have law firms looking for alternatives to them damn Tijuana rug bandits. Okay. I mean, it's outrageous. I mean, they think they got us over the barrel. So weak wang, So the next thing that we've seen, and it shouldn't be as a shocker, experts don't mean shit. The juror asked themselves, well, were you there at the wreck? Were you in the recovery room? You weren't first person with any of this shit. What the hell do you know? And it goes right along with what we've learned about statistics. If the statistic is great, but the source of the statistic is not trusted, I don't care what the statistic says. Same way with the experts. I don't care what the hell your opinion is. They don't trust you. They don't like you. So I got to put you up for summary judgment purposes or directed verdict or something like that. But don't get comfortable because you ain't staying up there long. The experts don't mean shit. Now, you understand, don't you, that, a lot of this is not absolute. There are exceptions, but man, you can see the exception, okay? The other thing that's going to change, and I'd like to think that I'm part of the precipitator of it, the use of appellate counsel. Because, come on, you might be a great trial lawyer, you might be able to do depositions wonderful, but you're probably going to be shit when it comes to the law. You're not sucking up every opinion that's coming out. You're not thinking about everything. And these appellate counsel, most of them, but not all of them, are excellent. I've been around since dirt, and they can tell me a lot. You might think that, Papa Don, but look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that. There's not a single case we go to trial on where we don't have an appellate counsel, and maybe 2. And what are we giving up? It's part of the contingency, usually around 3 to 5%. Well, listen, if I can bulletproof my rulings and I can bulletproof my trial for 3 or 5%, hey, I'm in. We're also seeing, because it goes back to a new understanding of our health and damages, what's been taken away. I started quacking about ED, and no, I don't have ED, but I'm familiar with some people that do. That's a huge damage now, demonstrated by focus groups and demonstrated by jury verdicts. You can have a fusion, you can have this, and you can have that, and yet Focus group's going to tell you that ED is the biggest damage you got. Okay. The second thing, and there was a brilliant woman from the Seattle area who came on your podcast. I don't know if you know her, Jenna, but came on your podcast and told all of us ignorant sons of bitches about vestibular dysfunction. I didn't know a damn thing about it until I got it. I mean, I literally, doctor says, you just got one of the worst cases of vestibular dysfunction that we've ever seen. Do what? What the hell is that? So I self-educated, and then I came on the podcast and I listened to it from Jenna's mom, who actually explained it. Hey, shit, a whole lot better than the Mayo people. That's a new damage. How many damn cases have you had that had vestibular dysfunction in it? And boom, over your head.
I'm afraid to think about that because so many brain injury cases involve them and you forget to think of it.
Well, hey, this is what I do. If it's a head injury, you know, it's a vestibular dysfunction until proven otherwise. What did your mom do? Well, your mom came on and talked about 3 cases where a person looked at her and says, I don't think there's anything wrong with me. And she said, oh, yeah, there is, Bubba.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what we're dealing with. You know, we're having to be great trial lawyers and great epidemiologists and diagnosticians, people. Okay. Now, when I say that and said that statistics are key, they deliver you the foreseeability, they deliver you the predictability. There's one thing that's king, or I guess I should say queen, because I get all these letters about you some bitches. I thought you went through misogynistic training. It didn't work. Okay. So what's the queen of this? OSIs.
Mm-hmm.
Understand for a minute what OSI give you. It happened before. Somebody bad got hurt. And we know how to prevent it. A lot of people say, well, I need, Papa Don, how many OSIs do I need? I said, how many do you think? Oh, about 15. Okay. One good one will get you the case. And I hate to say this, but how can you lose a case if you've got a ball busting, well, shit, an ovary busting statistic? I rebounded from that good, didn't I? Okay.
You're doing really well, actually. I see you catching all those issues. I see you catching them.
The therapy's working.
Yeah.
You got one ovary busting statistic. Wakes Bub up. Holy shit, I didn't know. And then you got one OSIs. Holy shit, it happened. Well, Bub, that's all Bubba need. What's the defendant going to say? It didn't happen. Mm-hmm. It's irrelevant? Shit. Let me tell you, it's been 2 years. Yeah, I guess right before COVID, I was invited to do a keynote at the International Society of whatever, and it's part of the government. Okay, I went thinking there'd be a bunch of damn consumer advocates and plaintiffs lawyers and everything else. Shit, no, it was all industry. And I did my little spiel about, you know, they ought to be ashamed of themselves and boom, 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 and they're not careful enough. And if they got up every morning and figured this product was going to be for their family, maybe that changed the mindset a little bit. But anyway, but beside that, at the very end, I could tell there were 2 people just armed to come after me. Okay, one was the quality assurance oxymoron with Walmart. Mm. And I'll just stop there. He just said, how do you justify these lawsuits where you already got an advantage? I said, we got an advantage too? Okay, you're all right. You're fucking dreaming. But anyway, how do you justify using these OISs? I said, what OIS, what is that? He says, you know, when you bring in something totally irrelevant that happened before. I said, well, how do you know it's irrelevant? That's the judge's job to make sure. Well, yeah, but it's not fair. What's that got to do with it? I said, you don't think it shows, Bubba, that it happened before? What's got to do shit? We'll admit to that. Yeah, right. You never admit to that. So I think it should be illegal to use them OISs, okay? Because it just makes our job unwinnable. I said, oh, can I write, what's your last name? Let me write it. Okay. That's how powerful an OIS is. Shit, now I'm saying it their way. OIS. Okay. Now, let me tell you what's coming up next year. First of all, it's hard to improve on what appears to be perfection. But Jenna and her team are going to do the best job they can about taking a great thing and improving on it. Okay. One of the things may be, I think we've got 9 or 10 or so podcasts on a myriad of different topics. And they're all sitting on the KTI website. And they're all sitting there for you to download for free. But soon there's going to be a bunch of them. There should be a search engine that we can slap on that'll search all the podcasts and then whittle down the one you're looking for instead of you having to go through each and every one of them. That's a potential. Now, how in the hell that can be done, I do not know. Okay. But I can tell you one thing. She's always looking for new ideas. I don't think she's rejected any of them. I think you got podcasts scheduled out until April or May or something. Well,
I think we're through March now. Yeah.
Okay. So I think when I'm looking at what advances do we have in the future, what tools do you have to make it better? That doesn't just level the playing fields with the black hats, but just smashes them. Podcast number 1. Number 2, I don't know what we're going to do with the blog, but I can tell you now, after 8 editions of it, we got 9 coming up. It's not like I'm out of topics. I looked at my notebook just yesterday, and I've got 30 of them ready to go. But I got to tell you, folks, there are so many hours in the day that I'm able to work. And I question, and they're being read, they're being downloaded, of course. But I'm just wondering, and I shouldn't bitch, I'm only doing 2 or 4 a month. There's guests, and then there's the autopsy. And by the way, that case I just told you about in Texas, that tremendous verdict, that's going to be an autopsy. Okay. We're never at a loss for autopsy, and we're never at a loss for guests. Okay. But frankly, I'm just getting tired. Okay. And so I don't know how much longer the blog's going to go, but it's going to dictate by your usage how long it goes. So long as people are downloading it, writing me and commenting on this, that, and the other damn thing, we'll consider it. There are 3 important books. And when I say book, I'm not talking about them damn big clunky kinds and shit. I'm talking about the electronic ones that you just go ching, 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 and you can do word searches on. I think we talked about the direct exam, which is all go-bys. You want it? It's like Patrick said in the Texas case this morning. It was verbatim direct. I could see what was going on. Right? Well, I think that's one of the crowning achievements of our posse is a lot of things we don't need to narrate. The only thing we got to do is show it. It's a show and tell. Here, you want to know how to do direct exams in the correct way? Here's 5 of them. And I did them in trial with jurors. Well, if you can't go in there and look at them 5 and come up with, okay, I see what he's doing there. I see, and then create the template that I was using, there's something wrong with you. Well, you just go be a defense lawyer, okay? But these go-bys, what do we got? We got the go-by on direct exam. We got a go-by on witness preparation. And Amy Miller, I know a lesser lawyer in Washington State, according to Jenna, you know.
No, Amy's great.
She's flawed, though, don't you think? I mean,
well, she's just a little bit more of a newcomer because she spent so much time with you.
So you're saying that was her mistake? Probably was her mistake.
Well, maybe. No, I think she's doing pretty well, though.
Well, she is. She is. But you know, the thing about Amy, she is not without an opinion on every damn thing. You don't have to ask her either. She'll tell you, right? Well, which is good. I really, she was with me for 1 year and 4 months, I think, and it was great. It really was. And if she didn't miss the rain and eating tree bark and shit, didn't have to go back to Seattle, I'd have gang tackle her and she'd be here. Okay. Because look at it this way: I've got Greg Luther, best malpractice lawyer ever been. Wrote essentially the Black Letter Law book. He's a rare mixture of knowing a subject matter and then knowing the law too. Okay. I got Greg, and I've got Mindy, and I've got David Hoey as partners. And so that's the other thing that you can consider in the future. This idea of taking on partners and having to buy office space and have them sit 2 doors down from you, man, them days are over. Okay. We're working now with a couple law firms that are intellectual property lawyers. Okay. And man, I've learned a lot about, they ain't got nobody showing up to the office. And they've got 8 offices. They've got 130 partners, and it's working. And John's telling me, shit, it's more efficient. We're producing more billables than we did prior to COVID. Imagine. Can you imagine? Jesus Christ. So anyway, what are we doing? We already have a go-by for witness prep. We already have a go-by for direct exam. Then we've got to go by, and this is really important, and the reason why I mentioned Amy. If there's one part of the edge that's changed from the reptile now to the edge and now again changing, it's opening statement. We finally have the seminal opening statement. And it's coming out, I think, in late January. And it's in go-by fashion. There are 7 opening statements in the new template. And this ain't some dream of somebody. This is, we did it. I sat there, I don't do openings, but I sat there and listened to every one of them and was involved in every single draft of it. So Amy is bringing that all together into a book, okay? And that will be the text for the new opening class, okay? A lot of changes in the opening, but come on, if that's where you can win the case, why shouldn't there be? Why shouldn't there be an inordinate amount of time put into the opening? And I mean, sorry ass dog don't wag his tail. It's very, very good. Okay. Because it's one thing being involved in the drafting of it and then the focus grouping of it, and then sitting there in the trial and hearing it, and then getting the verdict. Now I'm looking at it from an editing standpoint. And I'm looking at it from a standpoint, boy, they're going to like this. Holy crap, this is really good. I mean, for example, it contains the first ever causation first. You know, I've talked about it. Everybody's all tweeted about it, but they ain't seen it yet. Where are they going to see it in the book? It's going to be there. I don't need to explain it because it's going to be so simple. You're going to get it. Now, we have decided, however long this lasts, I don't know. But the next seminar, Medical Malpractice, year number 5, is going to be live in Atlanta. Live. Remember what that used to be?
Yeah. Greg was telling us about that, and I was like, they're live. That's odd.
Yeah. And then we're going to follow it. Mindy is, because she lords over our tractor trailer and commercial vehicle cases. That's who you work with on the Randall case.
Yep.
Prickly is all dog shit, but she knows her stuff, right? I mean, you know.
She's the best. Yeah. I mean, she's really the best. I love her.
Yeah, but she gets on your nerves, doesn't she?
Well, she's a straight shooter, and I appreciate that. So many lawyers beat around the bush, or they try to be nice about this or that. I mean, like, that's what I appreciate about Mindy. Straight shooter. It don't matter if it hurts your feelings. Here's the truth. And I'm like, that's refreshing.
But, you know, she'd offend the Pope, you know?
If he deserves it, I'm behind her.
In fact, what we do is we say she's bushless.
Yep.
She got nothing to beat around. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, but so she's doing tractor trailer along with Danny Ellis. Okay. And they're doing it live. And then we got the premises, which Mindy hogs that area. And so she's got all the premises cases. So she's going to do the premises seminar. This will be year number 3, I think, on that, or 4. That's live. And then Hoey, not to be outdone, is going to come in with products and do that live as well. Okay. I see it's 3:04. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
What do you think about time management?
That was excellent. I was a little bit concerned because I know you can speak all day, and we were gonna give you more time, but you got through everything, and I think you did a fantastic job.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I give you an A+.
Oh my God! So hey, you know the drill. What did you learn?
Well, I learned. I was writing some things down, and I hope you don't think that I was being rude while I was writing while you were speaking. But I thought these are some things that I'm going to be sharing with Young G if she's not watching live, because informed consent we're starting to take more medical malpractice cases. So I'm excited that informed consent is a big deal as a case in 2022. I reminded myself that who, what, when, where, and how come are really all you need to do with experts and most witnesses, because direct exam for me has always been the hardest. So I got to simplify it and keep it simplified. So that was a great reminder. And then also juror attitudes changing about health and family. Whenever I give any of the passion questions to a focus group these days, those are the 2 things that always come up. So that reflected what I've been seeing, and I'm happy to hear that as well. So those are the things that I took from this.
Okay. Let me pick on you.
Uh-oh.
When you say you're going to use informed consent to malpractice, the boogity boogity, right? Can you use it in any other case?
So I think you can. And I think in the medical malpractice context, just to kind of, I think you can use it in more than just like the informed consent where did you sign the correct forms? Did you give the information? I think informed consent comes in where notice could be involved and OSIs, as you were talking about earlier. So you had this known problem. You had maybe a provider who has been making these problems, has been written up several times, maybe an employer, I guess maybe you could use an employment case. Did the person consent to engage with you? Did they actually consent to go on that amusement park ride, I guess maybe? Or did you give them all the information they needed to make the decision? How about in a construction case? Or premise case, you knew that there was a defect. Did you give information so the person could consent to come onto your property? I don't know. There could be many, many different ways. And again, back to the medical malpractice, did you give informed consent to that procedure if you didn't know that doctor had problems before, but they didn't have to tell you about it? I don't know. I mean, what other ways do you think?
So you're done? That's okay.
I think so. I just haven't really thought about it too much in the non-medical malpractice context because that's kind of where we hear it. But I do think it has to do with notice. I think it does. I think if the corporation has information that they're not sharing with you, if the employer has information they're not sharing with you, how can you truly consent if you don't have all the information you need to make a decision? So I think it could be used in a lot of different areas. If I'm right on that, it would take some thinking.
No. All right, let me jump in here. I mean, before everybody came on, we were talking about what Christmas gift your new husband gave you, right?
Yes.
And it's your first Christmas, right?
Well, we've had many, many Christmases, but yeah, as being married, yes.
Not living in sin Christmas.
Right.
Being able to go outside and hold your head up high. Okay.
Yeah, being an honest woman.
Being an honest woman, that's right. And so, listen, you're going to remember that, and so is what's his name? Luke. Actually, I got to tell you, my newfound friend here at the beach is Luke Bryan. You know who Luke Bryan is?
Really?
What do you know who he is, though, first?
He's a singer, like a country guy.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, oh, shit. Faith Hill and...
and Garth Brooks?
No, who's he married to?
Well, isn't she married to... I thought Faith Hill was married to Garth Brooks. Am I wrong about that? I could be. No?
She's not all that smart, but not that stupid. Okay.
Okay, let me Google it.
All right. Anyway, those two used to be two doors down from me.
Oh, wait, Tim McGraw. I don't know. They're all the same to me.
Both of them moved, so I was kind of countryless. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I finally hooked up with Luke.
Uh-huh.
Nice guy, he is, right? But you didn't ask about my first Christmas.
What was your first Christmas like?
With Teresa back there, okay?
Yeah.
Well, we were both teenagers, and so it was, I have a reason to be stupid, okay? Mm-hmm. What I did was, I said, what does she need, okay? Well, she needs a lot of kitchen appliances. She needs a mixer, and she needs a toaster, and she needs a do. And I wrapped them all myself, sat them under the damn cheap tree. That's all I could afford was a cheap tree. Well, I think I stole the tree. I think that's what I did. But she got into the second present and started crying. My new bride, who I wanted everything to be perfect. And then she says, how could you? I said, I thought maybe you'd need these things. And she said, but not for Christmas. Oh. What do you want? Well, a negligee and a perfume, something for me. I still feel the pain of that, Jenna.
Oh, man.
Now, why did I say that?
Informed consent.
Informed consent. Because we got the toaster, we got the blender, we got the grill, and they've all got warnings on them. Now, do you read those warnings? Come on.
Sometimes I do, actually. It depends where they're placed. If there's a bunch of them, or if they're small, yeah, no.
Okay, well, hey, that's good observation. Do you ever think of the warning as an informed consent? Hey, these are the bad things that can happen. Right? I mean, isn't that what they're supposed to do?
True. Sometimes I read them purely to see what bad things can happen to me with the product or what has happened before. I'm like, well, what does this blender need a warning for? And then it tells you, essentially.
You think average Bubbas look at it as an informed consent?
No.
They look at it like this. I just got to rip this thing off because it don't mean shit to me. But if you try the case, used to be warnings cases were shit cases. Bubba didn't care about them because Bubba didn't understand what that warning is. It's to inform Bubba of the dangers. And then what happens when Bubba ain't informed? Okay. Huge cases. I had a inadequate security at the mall where some folks got killed by a gang. They put up this big ass sign, says, "Be careful," and some other vague thing. Well, see, that was the trial. The trial was, did your warnings of people coming onto your parking lot, was it adequate to tell you the danger from Mexican gangs that had killed 2 people before? Case is over. Case is over, because that's an informed consent case. And see, Bubba get it. There's not a single focus group where we've tried modern day adaptation of informed consent that Bubba doesn't get it. Like, oh yeah, I believe that. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. And so it's a huge non-medical malpractice issue to use down the line. And what does it do? Is it protects you. It's your survival. And if the manufacturer did not do all that could be done to inform you, then gone, roadkill, pick up the pieces. Okay. Now, if I may, just one last thing, could very well be the most important. You. And everybody out there is listening to me. As most of you know, I don't need to do this for food money. Okay. Notary practice still does pretty good. Okay. No, just kidding.
Just stamping away.
But, I was going to give this thing a run of about 2 or 3 years until I saw all the bright cherub looking young people coming forward and saying, I've got a chance now. Thank you. And I get the 80-year-olds. And yes, there's been a number of 80-year-olds come forward and says, I'd plan to retire by now, but I'm not gonna. I'm going to stay in until I get some lickings there. Okay. And so my ego doesn't go as far as to say I did all of this. Okay. I might have had some precipitating factor to it, but I still claim, a lot of great stories. And so long as I'm continuing to get those stories, and I just got one this morning. Somebody I've never met. I'm going to continue it. I am going to continue it. But I'll tell you one thing. I got to have peace of mind. I got to be able to get good sleep. I got all these friggin' medical conditions and shit, which are not life-threatening, thank God, but they are very aggravating sons of bitches. Okay.
The DRI's ears were perking up.
Yeah, there you go. So here's one of the podcasts, one of the early ones, and was one of the higher ranking ones, was Joe Tunstall. What was it on? How to remove stress in your life. Now, I don't think it was by accident that so many people said, man, I want to hear Joe. I want to take away what Joe was saying. And he did. He pounded some powerful stuff. So I could stay all day about all the things you need to do. But first and foremost, you got to slow it down. In fact, if you just shut that damn conveyor belt off, take only the cases that you can do without hearing the machine in the background go kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. Clear your brain to think. You know, I've got, I believe, an incredible success story. And if I were to credit anything, it's peace of mind. It's a calmness to go think things through. Why are they doing that? What would I think if I were on the jury? I do an incredible, some people may say a waste of time, but I do an incredible amount of just thinking stuff. Okay. Now, it used to be when we were over in the Big Chill, and I think the picture behind me is with Teresa and I in the tower overlooking the water. That was my go-to spot. I'm there to think. Okay. You know, the problem with this place that we've been at for almost a year now is it's got tons of places to do that. They got a thing in Hawaii, I think, called a lanai, a little peaceful kind of thing. And I do a lot of work with Woody Sollner. And Woody went on the internet and got the photographs and, you know, shit. He says, man, you got 9 of them. I said, you're kidding me. I said, circle them, will you, and send them back here. So shit, I almost get confused. Which spot of comfort do I go to? I mean, shit, Jen, I got one that's got a waterfall.
I love water features. That's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, I just turn the sumbitch on. Okay. And then, like I told you, I got the piano.
Yeah.
Go down and play me anything imaginable. I mean, I got no business being unsuccessful in this house. Okay. But everybody has to have that. You have to have that. You get that, it's like getting the gold, right? And meditation, yeah, I don't put on no damn pink leopard stretch pants or anything and do it, but I do mediate. That's right. I do meditate. I do. Okay. And in the first couple, I didn't get much out of it, but after a while, particularly when you get the breathing down, then you start to gain a lot from. Anyway, that's it. Just go get a good life. Remember, you got a life beyond the law, but know how to capture it, know how to damn make it happen for you. Okay. That's it. What other questions you got? And then we're out of here.
That is all. I think you covered everything that I was hoping that you would. So with that, thank you so much, Papa Don, for being here and sharing your wisdom and your time with us. And thank you all of those who joined us for this week's episode of Fridays with Keenan's Cutting Edge. If you liked today's episode, please click that thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and sign up for alerts so you don't miss the next one. Next week, we will be hearing from Amy Miller on the new opening statement go-by book that she authored for the Keenan Trial Institute. I thought it would be nice to open the year with opening statements, and I can't wait to hear all about this new publication and what we can expect from it to help us nail our opening statements at trial. So have a wonderful weekend. Happy New Year, and I'll see you all next time.
Happy New Year.